Welcome back to the channel. Story time. We're still doing our Celtic tree signs. We are on the fifth sign, Willow. And this is for people born between April 15th and May 12th. So that would be your tree sign if that's when you were born. Now the willow sign, a person born under that sign will be instinctual, in tune with the world around them, but not impulsive. So that's good qualities to have. And I found some interesting information about the willow tree. They usually grow around water, but now my brother has one in his yard, but in order to keep it thriving, he had to install an underground drip irrigation system to keep it enough water to keep it alive. So they're really pretty, but if you're not growing it beside a lake or a stream, then it's probably a lot more work. But the leaves, the way they come down, when it's raining, the water will come down those leaves that hang down, and it will just drip down, and that could be where it was known as the weeping willow, was because of the way the raindrops funnel down those long drooping leaves. So that might be why it was called, I think that's why it's called a weeping willow. But there was some other information. Now the tree itself in folklore it somehow relates to the underworld. So there's a lot of superstitions about, like, don't plant one in your garden or don't plant one in your front yard, things like that, that sometimes it might be a bad omen kind of thing. So you have to be careful about that. But now, it seems since it has something to do with the underworld, that also is not always a bad thing. Like there's folklore that says that if you meditate under a willow tree, or if you take a piece of willow and pin it to your clothes, it will help you ease a broken heart or bereavement or mourning. So that can be a good thing, helping you deal with that. So that can be definitely a good thing. And also found that if you can tie a piece of willow around a butter churn to keep the fairies from stealing your butter. Because our ancestors always had to figure out ways to keep the fairies from stealing their food. So fairies like cream and butter and things like that. So remember, we had the one tree that they would tie sprigs around their cows to keep the fairies from bothering them. All right, so and the phrase "knock on wood" apparently is talking about willow wood. So, and it has something to do with secret keeping. Let's see. It says it may relate to the secret keeping capacity of a willow. If you have a secret to keep, tell a willow, and it'll trap it in its wood. And the saying "wind in the willows" refers to elves whispering among themselves in the willows as people walk underneath. And the sound of the wind rustling the willow, it does kind of sound like voices. So that's kind of interesting. And let's see, I did find a story. And as many of Celtic tales, mythology, and stories, they're not always happy. They're often sad or cautionary, and this one is kind of like that. In this story, Many cultures they have tales, folklore and tales of nymphs and dryads. They live in the trees, and oak is a favorite choice for dryads to live in. But there is a story from, I think it's a Czech story, the country, about a nymph who lived in a willow tree, and she would venture out among the humans during the day and return to her tree at night. Now, in mythology, the dryads and nymphs of the trees, their life is bound up in their tree. So, this nymph who lived in the willow tree married a human man and had children. Everything was going great until the man happened to cut down her tree. And at that point, she died because her life was bound to the tree. And apparently in the story, he didn't know. But it said that he made a cradle for his youngest child out of the wood. And every time the child was put in the cradle, he would fall asleep, because it was a connection to his late mother. And in the tale it said when he got older, he could actually talk to his mother through the willow stump, which that's sad. But isn't that the way a lot of those stories go? His wife has a child, and to build a cradle for the newborn, he cuts down the tree that her life is connected to without knowing it, and he kills his wife by cutting down a tree to make a cradle for their baby. I mean, these twisty kind of, it's just sad. It is. But, so, willow trees are really interesting. I learned a lot about the willow trees. They're very pretty. And the idea of the weeping willow and knock on wood, I did not know that was associated to the willow. And willows keeping secrets. I have I'll put it at the end of the video. I have 2 t-shirt designs. One of them says, "Trees talk to those who will listen." So that's kind of that idea that everything alive around us has a connected spirit. Everything. So there's no reason why you can't talk to trees. You just have to figure out how to listen. Okay, that's interesting. So I like the willow trees, but that's still not my sign. We haven't got to my sign yet. I'm a reed, so I'm interested to find out what that's going to be about. So, but that's this week's story time with our Celtic tree signs. And next week, let's see. Next week is going to be hawthorn. I've heard a lot about hawthorn bushes, so really interested to dive into that one. So we will see you next Sunday for story time, and when we talk about the hawthorn bush or tree. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and we will see you later. Bye.